Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yaneli and today we're going to be talking about the Songs of Sirens collection that Mooncat released, which consists of 9 polishes, and the Mercury and Retrograde polish that they released for the lunar sale that they have going on until the 19th of May. So, first and foremost, I want to say that I did not purchase these polishes. Mooncat was nice enough to send this over to me in PR, and I'm just reviewing it for fun. I'm not being commissioned or sponsored of any sort to do this video. So with that, let's get into swatches. But first I want to show you what we're working with as the base for these polishes. As you can see, and I have mentioned this before, my thumbs are very textured. They have vertical lines and little indents that make it a little tricky when applying polishes onto the nail. The only base coat I have applied during these swatches is a peel-off base coat for me to easily remove the polish when I'm done. Up first we have maelstrom. And I did have to look this word up because I didn't know how to pronounce it, nor did I know it was an actual word. But according to Bing, it is a powerful whirlpool in the sea or a river. Maelstrom to me is a buildable deep blue jelly base with iridescent flakies and microholographic glitters. I think this polish applied really nicely on me. I didn't feel like any resistance or it was goopy at all. Especially with the flakies. I thought I had to finagle with the flakies even more, but it applied nicely. I'm a big fan of this type of look where you see the flakies getting layered and layered as you add more coats to it. I felt like I only needed 3 coats of this polish. I did not get full opacity per se, as in certain angles you can still see my nail line. If you're okay with seeing your nail line, sweet, 2-3 coats is great for you. However, if you do not like seeing your nail line, I highly recommend getting a smoothing base coat in order to minimize that look. That I mentioned that this polish offers with each coat, it's so beautiful. Here it is in the sun, and you can see those layers of the iridescent flakes with each coat that we put on, as well as the microholographic glitter. And then here it is in the shade. I absolutely love the flakies in the shade. They're so, I don't know, they're so eye-catching and I just love it. Here's a close-up of Maelstrom where you can really see all the different elements that this polish has to offer. Up next we have the sea between us, and to me this is a aqua blue jelly base with the iridescent flakies and micro holographic glitters. On the website it did say there was a bluish shimmer. However, while I was swatching this, I didn't notice it until right now as I'm editing it. You'll see it more, I think, in the macro shot that I have near the end of reviewing this specific polish. But yeah, overall, this is, in essence, a very beautiful polish. However, this type of blue I don't technically enjoy with my skin tone. I don't know if it's the undertone of it or what, but this specific shade of blue is not it for me. Depending how long your nail is or how small or big it is in general, for me personally I felt like I needed 3 coats, but even then the nail line was still visible. So like Maelstrom, if you do not like seeing your visible nail line, go ahead and use a smoothing base coat to blur that out. Here it is in the sun, and I think you can kind of see the blue shimmer. And then here it is in the shade. And then here's the close-up of it where you can see the elements within this polish. I will compare the sea between us and Maelstrom later on in the video, so stick around for that if you want to see comparisons. I have quite a bit. Next up we have the Sirens Revenge, and this to me is a sea foam green type of base, whereas on the Mooncat website it states that it's a minty green. To me it's a little bit too blue leaning to be considered minty. When I think mint, I think of pastel green, not so much of a pastel-y green blue or blue green, if you will. This polish does have a shimmer in it, and the shimmer can transition from this green to almost aqua blue shimmer at extreme angles. It's really pretty once you get to see them in that sort of lighting. As you can see here, even with 2 coats, I can see a little bit of patchiness towards the top of my nail. So to stay on brand, I did not record the 3rd coat being applied, but I do have the third coat end result here. And then here it is in the sun. And then here it is in the shade. Lastly, here it is up close. It's a very pretty shade. I used it to create nail art over on my Instagram. I did a deep sea aura type of design with like some pearls and some iridescent gems as well. Turned out pretty cool. I really like the look. Here we have Ghost Ship, and this is a metallic purple with silver and micro hollow glitter with a blue shimmer. Apologies on the video, my camera tends to freak out with magnetic polishes, I noticed. I'm not sure what setting I could put in so it doesn't like glitch out or whatever it's doing. Overall, this is a very easy polish to apply. I felt like 2 coats was plenty for me, and I think it has to do with how much darker this polish is. That usually tends to be the case. I do see that the brush strokes are slightly visible. I don't suspect this to be a major problem outside of like how closely we're looking at the nail here. And then here it is in the sun. And then here it is in the shade. And then here it is magnetized with a cat eye line pattern, that royal purple, the crisp silver line, chef's kiss. And then here it is with the velvet effect. I felt that the velvet effect looked slightly similar to it on magnetized. The main difference is that there's more dimension with the velvet effect because you can see it like shifting around and whatnot. And that the blue shimmer is more prominent than when it's not magnetized at all. Lastly, here it is up close. The next magnetic polish we have is Quicksand's Embrace, and this to me is a mauve neutral with the subtle holographic glitters in there. It's hard to show it magnetized because like even here you can barely see the silver line when I try to do like a small cat eye line look on the bottle. Overall, this is a very sheer formula. I did ended up doing 3 coats in order to get full coverage. I think having a smoothing base coat would help in alleviating at least an additional coat of this polish. The interesting thing about this polish is on the first coat, it was a very light pinky type of color, but as you continue to build it on, it turns a little bit more on the darker side of things, and I think it's primarily because of the holographic glitters in there. Since they're more silver, it kind of pigments the base color a little bit. You definitely see the hollow a little bit more in the sun versus the studio lights or LED lights. It's very subtle. Like when I say subtle, I mean it's subtle. It's an almost barely there kind of thing. Anyways, here it is in the sun. You can see the little hollow flare better than you did in the previous shot where it was with my LED lights. And then here it is in the shade. It just looks murky in the shade, not too flattering in my opinion. So here's the cat eye line look in the sun and all that because it wasn't picking up too much under my LED lights. And here's the velvet effect in the sun. And then here it is close up. Because of the swatch sticks and it's not against, flesh, it comes out more pinky leaning, like how it did when we did 1 coat versus 3 coats on ourselves. And moving on to our thermals, we have Dark Omens, and this is an extremely dark / plum purple, and it changes to a more pink purple in its warm state. Overall, for me, this is a very vampy type of color. I always associate this type of color with goth or alternative, if you will. I am pleasantly surprised that this one is not as thick in applying as Queen of the Dead was. And Queen of the Dead was Mooncat's first thermal that they released, and it was part of the Seasons of Persephone's collection. The brand does recommend to do 3 coats of the thermal polishes to ensure the transitional effect. I do agree that this polish does need a third coat for me because it was patchy on the first coat and on the second coat. And honestly, even on the third coat, I felt like near the top of my nail it was a little patchy, but I didn't want to add a fourth coat to this. Mooncat also does say that it can take up to a few hours for the color transition effect to take place. We kind of sped the process up here by forcing it with water. So on my right, I have cold water, and on my left, I have hot water that I can tolerate. As I dip my finger into the cold water, it goes into that very, very dark plum purple. And then as I take it out, you see the transitioning happen, and the transitional part looks so cool. I kind of wish we can make it stay in the transitional part. But just know that if you have short nails and you do run warm, you will more than likely just have the warm color stay. My people with the long nails, you will have that, not so much of an ombre, but like that French tip look with the cool color and the warm color. So I guess it looks cooler on you. But I really like the color it is when it's warm, and I like that the very tip of my thumbnail gets, that dark purple. And then here it is in the sun. And then here it is in the shade. I didn't bother to do a close-up of this polish because it's just a creme. Like, there's no other feature within itself besides the thermal aspect of it. The next thermal we have is Treachery in the blue. It is a dusty dark blue thermal with a micro scattered holographic glitter. It transitions to a nude color, which I will say makes it a little bit difficult in navigating it close to the proximal fold that we have there, or the cuticle line if you will, because I don't know if it's even, and I will only know until it's in the color blue. So keep that in mind. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a special case. Who knows? To my besties who are very sensitive to scent, Mooncat does have a disclaimer on their website that these thermal polishes are stronger in scent. So if you are sensitive to scents, I recommend that you make sure you have windows or some form of airflow going. When I follow the 3-coat rule, I end up not liking the neutral color because of its blue thermal properties. When it stays on me in limbo, it gets this weird brown blue murky color, and it's just not flattering for me. And just like Dark Omens, on the right I have cold water, and on the left I have hot water. And the transition, we're forcing it here with the water temperature. I will say that I was romanticizing this shade when I was seeing the sneak peeks on Instagram and whatnot, and it's just such a land and sea type of polish. Here it is in the sun. It was during golden hour because it was later on in the day, so the light's a little bit more yellow than it is of daylight. And then here it is in the shade. And lastly, here's a close-up of it. The micro scattered hollow in the cold state. It's so cute. I love the cold state more than I do the warm state. Moving on to the best polishes in this collection, in my humble opinion, because I am a sucker for multichromes. Up first, we have A Most Destructive Melody, and this one has very micro multichrome flakes that pile on together to give us coverage. So it's not the base itself that's the multichrome, it's these little flakes that come together. And again, my camera for some reason just can't handle it, and it does this weird like flickering thing. When I show it to you later on in a different lighting angle, you can see orange, you can see purple, blue, green, yellow. This is a very shifty multichrome. Overall, I've only needed 2 coats, which I'm kind of shocked. Glad it's great coverage with my textured nails and whatnot. It primarily shifts to like purple, blue, but when you switch it to this shot, look at all those colors. How freaking cool! Here it is in the sun. Here it is in the shade. Here's the close-up of it where you can see those micro flakes that come together to build up the coverage of this polish. Now this one is my absolute favorite in this collection. Not only is it a multi-chrome, but the color combo that it has is so unique to me in my nail collection that I have. And it's almost like, why would you put these colors together? But it works because it's pretty. This is Am I Everything You Fear? And the answer is no. I'm not fearing you. I am in fact doing the opposite. So it's a teal base, and then the shimmer itself is red, and together they make this purple shimmer that you see here as I'm swatching. And then of course I'll show this at extreme angle so you can see the other colors that it has, because oh my god, there's a vibrant lime green color to this. I love it so much. And with the micro holographic glitter in there, it's just the nice amount of spice that I would want in a polish. I will say though, I did do 3 coats and it's a very sheer polish, so in the future when I'm out and about and wanting to wear it, I will probably wear a smoothing base coat just to remove my visible nail line, because that's not what I want to bring to the function. Here it is in the extreme angle I was talking about earlier. You could also see my nail line was visible there with that type of lighting. But can we talk about the color shifts? Oh my god. Here it is in the sun. The hollow really comes through here, and you can see on the sides of my nail the other extreme colors. And then in the shade, you see more of the reddish shimmer. And then here it is in the close-up. My swatch sticks are a little transparent, so the teal is more prominent, I would say, compared to when it's on the actual nail. And now moving on to the polish that's not part of the Songs of Siren collection, but is part of the Mooncat Lunar sale. This is, I guess, in celebration of the sale. I'm not 100% sure, but Mooncat does tend to release polishes during the lunar sale. And this one I would describe as a more gray leaning periwinkle blue with a purple pinkish shimmer, and it is magnetic and it creates a silver magnetic line or effect when you magnetize it. Overall, I only needed 2 coats for full coverage, but I will say that at the time that I recorded this swatch of this polish, I had just filed my nails down, so if you compare my nail length to Am I Everything You Fear, there is a slight difference there. So I don't know if the amount of nail that I filed down contributed to the amount of coats I needed, but just wanted to let you know what's going on. I'm not a huge fan of magnetics that have a silver magnetic pole, just because I tend to find it harder to kind of see the magnetic pole. But with this one, I think the added shimmer to it makes me like it even more. And then of course I want to show it to you in its magnetized form. So up first we have the cat eye line magnetic effect, and then here it is in the velvet effect. I just love the velvet look with this polish specifically. It's so pretty. And then here it is up close. You can really see the silver specks that makes this polish lean a little gray. Moving on to comparisons. Up first we have Maelstrom, which is in the middle, Drown My Demons to the left of it, and The Sea Between Us to the right. As you can see, Maelstrom and The Sea Between Us are very much different, so you can justify having both of them if you really want. And then Drown My Demons was just a comparison of similar colors to Maelstrom. So I don't have exacts for The Sea Between Us, but I do have polishes that are almost similar in terms of base color. The Sea Between Us is on the far left. Then we have River Sticks. Next to River Sticks is Hollow Taco's Be Kind Rewind. And then next to that one is the combination that I did using Hollow Taco's Be Kind Rewind and their Galactic Unicorn Skin Topper. Here we have the Siren's Revenge, which is in the middle, and then to the left of it is Full Scream Ahead, and to the right is Devil's Ivy. I thought that from the bottle, with the green shimmer that Full Scream Ahead has, it looks slightly similar to the Siren's Revenge, but you can see clear as day here that these are not similar whatsoever, and I didn't realize how dark Devil's Ivy actually is once it's put on. Up next we have Ghost Ship, and that is in the middle. To the left is To All Who Ghosted Me, and to the right it's This Is a Storm Warning. On the bottle, they almost had similar properties, especially with This Is a Storm Warning also being a purple magnetic polish, but again, not similar whatsoever, so you could justify having all three of these if you really want. Here we have Quicksand's Embrace in the middle, and then right next to it on the left is Hollow Taco's Toe Beans, and next to Toe Beans is Island P's Quicksand. And then to the right, we have Hollow Taco's 50 Shades of Grayish, and next to that one is Island P's Coffee Run. I don't have exacts for Quicksand's Embrace, but these were giving similar vibes. So here we have Dark Omen comparisons. From left to right, we have Queen of Chaos, then it's Queen of the Dead, and then Dark Omens, and then Raven. Dark Omens on its own looks very similar to Raven. However, Raven does have these tiny purple shimmers in there. And then you really see the difference here when I dip the polish into hot water, so you can see the transitional effect. And from that point on, there really isn't any exacts or similarities within these polishes. So here we have Treachery in the blue. From left to right is Quicksand's Embrace, Misery is my favorite color, Treachery in the blue, and Hollow Taco's Overshadow. I would say Misery is my favorite color is the closest to Treachery in the blue, but Misery is my favorite color is not a thermal, it's just a blue shimmery polish. Now you might be wondering, Yaneli, why did you include Quicksand's Embrace? Well, when I put Treachery in the blue in its warm state, I felt that the neutral base looked slightly similar to Quicksand's Embrace, and I wanted to showcase those similarities or differences in this comparison shot. From left to right, we have Hollow Taco Wayback Chrome, Mooncats or Live Love Polishes, Siamese, Mooncat's A Most Destructive Melody, and Hollow Taco's Purple with Envy. So I would say that Purple with Envy is the closest in terms of the color range that A Most Destructive Melody has, but Purple with Envy is more of a smoother multichrome, whereas A Most Destructive Melody has those micro multichrome flakies that give it more of a textured look. With Am I Everything You Fear on the left, I couldn't find an exact multichrome or one that was similar to it because it's so unique to me in my collection, but I thought I showed you how it looks next to Hollow Taco's Cat Evasion, because on the bottle themselves, it kind of looks similar, like shifting components that it has, but obviously there's a huge difference here. Lastly, we have Mercury in retrograde being in the middle. To the left is Island P's Rain Shower, and to the right it's Mooncat's Petals for a Narcissist. So I thought that Rain Shower's base color was similar to Mercury's in retrograde when they were in the bottle, but seeing it swatched on here, you see the little difference there, as well as the shimmer and the magnetic property. Same for Petals for a Narcissist. When it's condensed in the bottle, its base color gives off a similar look to Mercury in retrograde, but again, different components. Okay, so my overall thoughts on this collection is it's pretty solid. I like the color story, I like the theme. I don't know much about the theme. I forgot to search and look up lore of the siren. I do like the way that Mooncat marketed this collection. They got someone to create a song for them, and it sounds ethereal, magical, and a little bit spooky. And then they did an amazing photo shoot, a siren photo shoot, where they had models kind of like luring you in kind of thing, like what sirens are depicted to do with their voices and appearances and whatever. And then they were kind to share the polish that Michelle and team made for the employees. and I think that's Maelstrom. It's a very wholesome collection, and I think it's cute the way they went around and marketed this collection. But something I noticed about the last couple of mooncat collections that I have reviewed or have gotten is that mooncat likes to put similar polishes but in different flavors within the same collection. So as examples, we have Garden of Evil and Fields of Elysium from Seasons of Persephone. Garden of Evil is a little bit more contrasty, saturated, whereas Fields of Elysium is more muted, swampy. And in this collection, we have Maelstrom and The Sea Between Us. Maelstrom's a little bit more on the darker blue. Sea Between Us is more of a aqua color, if you will. The flakies are kind of similar. They both have micro holographic glitter. And The Sea Between Us has a blue shimmer, whereas Maelstrom does not. But again, similar attributes, different flavors. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just want to know why. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. Please let me know if you plan on getting the collection or only some of the collection, or if you're buying anything from the sale and what are you buying from the sale. I have the cuticle oil in mind because I really like it. It doesn't feel as oily and I think it absorbs really nicely. And I think it generally helps with my nails. And then what else? I love their top coat. So fast drying, so glossy. I love it. And there's a couple of polishes from the Rodeo collection that I want to get, but I can't recall off the top of my head. But give me some ideas down in the comments. I'm looking forward to seeing them. And yeah, thanks so much for watching again. I'll see you next time.